Nobody expected Cleveland's quarterback room to become the NFL's biggest offseason drama. On paper, it looked like a familiar story. A former franchise quarterback was trying to recover from another major injury. A rookie selected earlier in the draft was expected to quietly develop, and another rookie entered the building carrying one of the biggest names in football. Most people assumed they already knew how this would play out, but within weeks, that prediction started falling apart. Instead of talking about who would back up the starter, analysts suddenly began asking a completely different question. What if the quarterback everyone doubted is actually forcing his way into the conversation? And if that's true, what does it mean for everyone else in Cleveland? That's where this story gets interesting, because this isn't just about arm talent or highlight throws. It's about expectations colliding with reality, and sometimes reality doesn't care where you were drafted. Every offseason, coaches repeat the same message. Jobs are earned, not handed out. Fans hear it every year, but rarely believe it. Draft position usually speaks louder than any press conference. A player taken earlier almost always receives more opportunities, more patience, and more room for mistakes. That's simply how the league works. But every once in a while, a situation comes along that forces everyone to rethink those assumptions. Cleveland may be living through one of those moments right now. The Browns entered the offseason surrounded by uncertainty. Deshaun Watson's recovery remained one of the biggest questions hanging over the franchise, leaving the coaching staff with difficult decisions before training camp had even begun. A healthy Watson changes everything. An unavailable Watson changes the entire quarterback room. Suddenly, every practice rep becomes more valuable. Every completion is analyzed. Every mistake is magnified. And every young quarterback understands that one impressive stretch could completely change the depth chart. That's exactly why this competition has attracted so much attention around the league. But the spotlight isn't only about football. It's also about expectations created months before these players ever put on Browns uniforms. During the draft process, opinions about Cleveland's quarterback strategy were all over the place. Some evaluators believed the organization prioritized fit over pure upside. Others believed they were searching for leadership and consistency more than star power. Whatever the reasoning, the decisions immediately became one of the most debated storylines after draft weekend. Fans didn't simply compare talent. They compared potential, confidence, personalities, and long-term ceilings. Those debates only became louder once off-season practices began. Reports from minicamp started painting an interesting picture. Coaches weren't handing out guarantees. Instead, they emphasized preparation, decision-making, timing, and command of the offense. Those aren't the flashy qualities that dominate social media, but they're often the traits that determine who eventually earns trust inside an NFL building. Quarterbacks aren't judged only by the throws fans remember. They're judged by how quickly they process information, how consistently they make the right read, and how confidently they lead an offense between plays. That's where many observers believe the biggest progress has been taking place. One name kept appearing whenever practice updates surfaced: Shedeur Sanders. Instead of chasing headlines, reports suggested he focused on learning the offense, building chemistry with teammates, and improving every practice. Coaches have publicly complimented his development, pointing to better timing, improved understanding of coverages, and noticeable growth from the beginning of the offseason. Those comments matter because NFL coaches rarely hand out praise without a reason. Every positive statement becomes another clue about how they truly view a player behind closed doors. Of course, none of this guarantees anything once training camp begins. Practice success doesn't automatically translate into regular season production. Veterans have seen plenty of off-season stars disappear once the games become real, but momentum is a powerful thing inside an organization. Confidence spreads quickly when coaches notice improvement, teammates respond positively, and reporters consistently observe the same trends. Suddenly, conversations that seemed impossible a few months ago begin sounding realistic. The Browns may not have officially named anyone their future quarterback, but they've certainly created an environment where every snap matters. While one quarterback has generated growing optimism, another finds himself facing an entirely different challenge. Dylan Gabriel entered the league with supporters who believed his experience, accuracy, and composure would help him adapt quickly to professional football. Those qualities remain valuable, but NFL competition doesn't stop simply because someone was drafted earlier or arrived with high expectations. Every offseason brings new evaluations, new coaches, and sometimes completely different priorities. That's why the quarterback room feels so unpredictable today. What looked straightforward during the spring now feels anything but certain. Analysts across football media have started asking difficult questions. Is Cleveland witnessing the emergence of a legitimate future starter? Or are offseason headlines creating expectations that training camp won't support? The honest answer is that nobody knows yet. But uncertainty creates attention, and attention creates pressure. Every throw from this point forward will be dissected by fans searching for clues about the franchise's future. And that pressure is only going to increase once the pads come on, because the real competition hasn't even started yet. Training camp has a way of exposing everything. Confidence, preparation, chemistry, leadership. It all becomes impossible to hide once the competition turns physical and every practice feels like a job interview. That's why the Browns' quarterback battle is far from decided, even if momentum appears to be shifting. The coaching staff isn't looking for the quarterback who wins the internet for a day. They're searching for the one who consistently makes the right decisions when the pressure rises. And that's where this story takes another turn. One of the biggest changes inside Cleveland isn't just the quarterbacks themselves, it's the people evaluating them. A new coaching staff doesn't carry emotional attachment to previous draft decisions. They aren't obligated to defend picks made by someone else. Every player walks into the building with the same challenge: prove you belong. That creates an opportunity, but it also creates enormous pressure. Veterans can't rely on reputation forever, and rookies can't expect draft status to protect them. Every rep must be earned. That's exactly why reports from off-season practices have generated so much discussion. Beat reporters have repeatedly highlighted the growing confidence surrounding Shedeur Sanders. Instead of trying to force spectacular plays, observers have noted his patience, quicker decision-making, and improved command of the offense. Those details rarely make flashy highlight reels, but coaches value them more than almost anything else. A quarterback who understands where the football should go before the snap can completely change an offense. That's the type of development Cleveland hopes to see continue. Just as important has been Sanders' response to the non-stop attention surrounding him. From the moment he entered the league, every throw, every interview, and every practice clip became a national conversation. Some young players struggle under that kind of spotlight. Others allow outside criticism to distract them from improving. But Sanders has consistently projected the same message: ignore the noise and focus on football. Whether people praise him or criticize him, his public approach has remained remarkably steady. That mindset has earned respect inside the locker room, because teammates notice who stays focused when expectations become overwhelming. Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel finds himself in one of the toughest situations any young quarterback can experience. He's still developing, still learning the speed of the professional game, and still trying to convince a new coaching staff that he deserves a long-term opportunity. None of that means his future is already decided. NFL careers change quickly. Injuries happen. Depth charts shift. Unexpected opportunities appear every season. But the speculation surrounding Gabriel has become impossible to ignore. Some analysts believe Cleveland could eventually explore trade possibilities if the quarterback room becomes too crowded. Others argue the smartest move is keeping as much depth as possible until the regular season unfolds. Right now, those conversations remain exactly what they are: outside opinions, not confirmed plans. The organization has made no public declaration that Gabriel is on his way out, and that's an important distinction to remember. The same applies to Deshaun Watson. His injury changed the discussion, but it didn't erase his place in the organization overnight. If he returns healthy, the entire quarterback picture could shift once again. That's why predicting the Browns' Week 1 starter remains incredibly difficult. There are simply too many variables still unfolding behind the scenes. Health, consistency, preseason performances, and training camp decisions will all play major roles before any final announcement is made. What makes this competition fascinating is that it represents more than one season. Cleveland is trying to identify the face of its future. Every decision made over the next few months could shape the franchise for years. That's why every practice report generates headlines, every coach's comment gets analyzed, and every quarterback is placed under a microscope. Fans aren't just watching a position battle. They're watching the possible beginning of a new era. One impressive preseason drive could change public opinion overnight. One difficult outing could completely shift the conversation in the opposite direction. That's how quickly momentum changes in the NFL. And maybe that's the biggest lesson from this entire offseason. Draft position creates expectations, but it doesn't guarantee success. Media attention creates headlines, but it doesn't win starting jobs. The only thing that truly matters inside an NFL building is consistent performance when the opportunities arrive. Right now, Shedeur Sanders has positioned himself squarely in that conversation through steady improvement and growing confidence. Dylan Gabriel still has time to write his own chapter, even if the road has become far more challenging than many expected. And Deshaun Watson's recovery remains the wild card that could reshape everything once again. Until the Browns finally make their decision, every practice, every preseason snap, and every coach's press conference will continue fueling one of football's most compelling quarterback stories. The real answer won't come from rumors, social media debates, or television panels. It will come when Cleveland decides who gives them the best chance to win. And when that moment finally arrives, months of speculation will disappear, replaced by one simple reality. Someone will earn the job. Someone will keep fighting for another opportunity. And one of the NFL's most talked about offseason battles will finally have its answer.